The performance we saw from Caitlin Clark today against a team that started off the season 9-0, a team that is the defending champions, might have been the greatest women's basketball performance we have ever seen. That might have been the greatest showing from a WNBA player we have ever witnessed. That was spectacular. The shots she hit in this game, y'all, were something like I've never seen any other women basketball player ever come close to hitting. There are NBA superstars out there that I have not seen have a game with that many crazy shots. There are NBA superstars.
When she walks on the hardwood, it's like the game shifts in her direction. Caitlin Clark is stepping back over the arc. She has specified what counts as an offense in the WNBA. Deep threes for her were not fireworks, they were fundamentals. This season, Clark is 8 for 18 from beyond 28 feet. That's the same number of made threes as 6 entire teams combined. The Sparks, Storm, Wings, Valkyries, Aces, and Lynx. Those franchises haven't matched her deep range as a unit, and she's doing it alone. And it gets crazier. From beyond 32 feet, Clark is 2 for 6. Yes, she's the only player in the league to attempt more than 2 shots from that distance. And the only one to make more than 1. The league only started tracking these distances in 2018. Only the great Dewana Bonner has more total attempts, 19 to Clark's 18, but Bonner needed 8 seasons for it, while Clark racked up hers in a single year as a sophomore. That's her confidence. She doesn't just pull these from desperation or last-chance heaves. She shoots them as part of the offense. Logo range jumpers have been a Steph Curry staple in the NBA, but seeing that in women's basketball was beyond dreams. Now it's routine for Clark. Every time she lets go from a distance, a splash of disbelief washes through the crowd. With each movement, defenses tighten and rotations scramble. Suddenly, there's daylight in the paint or someone wide open in the corner. Her range warps the court. When Clark crosses half court, defenders are almost forced to follow. That stretch creates half-court traps. It opens passing lanes like 4-on-4 power plays. That's part of why her assists lead the league, 9.2 per game, and why her presence boosts the entire Fever offense. Then came June 14, a date you won't soon forget. Returning from a 5-game absence with a quad strain, Clark exploded with 32 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, and 7 threes in Indiana's 102-88 win over the undefeated Liberty. She hit 3 long-range bombs in a blistering 38-second stretch that had the sold-out crowd roaring so loud. You could feel it over the broadcast. There she was, raising the roof and proving that the range game was a weapon. The impact off the court? Massive! That game drew an average of 2.2 million viewers on ABC, peaking at a record-breaking 2.8 million. The third most-watched WNBA game in history on that network. Viewership jumped a staggering 76% from last season. Networks are taking note. ESPN also reports a 15% uptick in WNBA viewership across its platforms this year. When Clark is back in the lineup, ratings jump, and when she's out, numbers slump. One report estimated that WNBA viewership dropped by more than 50% in her absence, only to pick up when she returned. Beyond the arc, her influence is global. A handful of fans flew in from Hong Kong for that Liberty game just to catch her in action. She's become the face of a movement, ushering in new fans, dollars, and respect for women's basketball. Even her logo range exploits go beyond the pros. In an Iowa exhibition, she nailed a 36-foot buzzer beater that brought the house down and drew international attention. One where ESPN broadcasters literally froze mid-call. Her coach, Stephanie White, compares her range to Steph Curry's. And that's high praise, but Clark isn't just Curry light. Her volume and accuracy are unprecedented. Critics will say she's trading efficiency for flash. But hold that thought. She shoots 36.7% from beyond the arc this season on massive volume, and those deep bombs are as effective as mid-range twos. She's forcing defenses into impossible choices. What's more, she's building on top of her deep game, a strong all-around profile. Last season, she set rookie records for assists, 337, and threes, 122, posted 2 triple-doubles, and averaged triple-digit box scores with points and rebounds. She led the league in assists and helped increase attendance by nearly 50% compared to 2023. Combine her generational range with elite playmaking and a competitive personality, and you've got a star whose gravity extends into mainstream culture. She's selling the WNBA. So that's the setup. The deep range, the ratings, the global attention, all wrapped in one dynamic rookie season. There's no puffery here. The stats speak for themselves, and every deep bomb shifts the narrative. Stakes are high, and so are the expectations. For now, recognize this reality. Caitlin Clark is rewriting the shot chart, the broadcast numbers, and the game's very architecture, all from way beyond the arc. She's disrupted conventions, but now the shockwaves hit deeper currents, economic, cultural, and yes, controversial. The Caitlin Clark effect is about attention, dollars, and debates going around identity, media, and what women's basketball should look like. So that's the setup. The deep range, the ratings, the global attention, all wrapped in one dynamic rookie season. There's no puffery here. The stats speak for themselves, and every deep bomb shifts the narrative. Stakes are high, and so are the expectations. For now, recognize this reality. Caitlin Clark is rewriting the shot chart, the broadcast numbers, and the game's very architecture, all from way beyond the arc. She's disrupted conventions, but now the shockwaves hit deeper currents, economic, cultural, and yes, controversial. The Caitlin Clark effect is about attention, dollars, and debates going around identity, media, and what women's basketball should look like. It starts with money. Indiana Fever games with Clark are selling out. Last season, attendance jumped nearly 50%, and franchise value is now estimated at around $370 million, second highest in the league. Local businesses and hotels have skyrocketed revenues. The city of Indianapolis reportedly saw a right-shoe economic boost of $36.5 million from Clark-related tourism and fan activity. Sponsors who once tiptoed around the WNBA are queuing up, figuring that if they want big reach, they follow Clark. Zoom out nationally. Viewership on ESPN networks is up 15% in Clark's sophomore season. Her June 14th ABC showcase peaked at 2.8 million viewers, making it the third most-watched WNBA game ever on that network. Across social media, the memes are hot takes on fame, angel revenue jokes about trademarking the logo jumper, and debates over whether she's the most marketable athlete. While many ride the wave of Clark's popularity, others raise their voices and criticism. Some argue she's the face of the WNBA for her talent and because of her race and marketability. Writers say the media leans white, labeling coverage of Clark a proof of racial bias, a magnet for mainstream attention, while other stars, especially black players, get short shrift. Angel Reese and Asia Wilson are invoked in these conversations. Both are elite players with massive followings, but it's Clark whose presence on promotional materials, national broadcasts, and social media features is overwhelming. Critics frame it as a knock on the system about how the sport defaults to a certain archetype when highlighting its prime spokespersons. Even some fans aren't silent. Scrolling through Reddit threads, a sentiment emerges. Clark is brilliant, but the spotlight feels one-sided. At the same time, many argue that backlash itself reeks of envy or entitlement, as though Clark must shrink her impact to make others feel seen. There's tension. Is this pushback accountability or discomfort at change? Because Clark's saying the quiet parts out loud. I'm here to win and grow the league. And as Rebecca Lobo said on ESPN, Caitlin forces you into uncomfortable defensive choices. Either guard her at 35 feet and give up space, or don't, and she buries the shot. But beyond that, Clark forces a reckoning. Who gets to be a star? Whose names headline national coverage? And what conversations sports media chooses to amplify? Regardless of the heat, here's what's undeniable. Clark's presence is a gem. Young players are pulling out logo rockets in high school. Coaches are building defense schemes around her range. The WNBA is tweaking its style, and it's not subtle. Lineups stretch earlier, zones open wider, and teams are going after her movement. That's evolution, sparked by one player in one city. Rare air, historically speaking. Compare Gretzky in hockey or Bird in the early NBA days. One player forcing changes just by existing on the court.